Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back with some more Battle Spirits Saga here, reaching out to Anthony Dango on the community Discord with probably my favorite deck of the entire weekend, capping off with a top 16 performance, locking that invite. Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm tired. 9 hours of flying, but I'm good. Good.
All right, so talk to me about this Axebiter deck. What's the idea behind this deck before we start going card by card?
Basically, the concept is I couldn't make Luster work, so I made defensive Luster.
That was a big mood.
That's the whole concept. Is I just wanted something that would play similar to Luster, except it's all defensive because it's white.
All right, fair enough. Well, then let's go card by card, and we can start breaking it down for the people right here.
First things first. 100 core cards, 1 soul core card.
Yep, the superior resource management system in the game.
Yep. 2 Derm Dyna. This is honestly your true win con. Card's broken. I honestly don't think I can say that much about it. Card's just insane. It is a mech for Mothership that rarely comes up. Yeah, I mean, this is the card that kicked me out of top 8.
Yeah.
My opponent opened it both games. He actually only played 1. I looked at it.
Oh, you gotta love it when they see the 1-0.
Yeah. 2 Enterprise. Honestly, I don't think the armor's super relevant besides against white right now, but against white aggro, if you resolve this, you automatically win the game. And the huge stats are what matter, and then the dual attack with Buffalong is super relevant, especially when you give him unblockable Therm, because that's just press 2 damage.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the fact that with Derm you can give him unblockable. The dual attack, it's kind of like what sets him overboard.
Yeah.
I think it's what lends the deck a way of like inevitability, because now you're guaranteeing like 3 damage between him and Derm, and I think that's the biggest thing when I was playtesting with you that really kind of like made it all shine.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally how you win. It's Derm plus Enterprise and Elephant, of course, but
right.
3 Buffalong. After this weekend, I'll probably cut it to 2. It honestly felt the weakest of the weekend, but it's still a very powerful card in the deck, especially with like all of the restands that are in the deck later on. Buffalong is just very strong, and a lot of the cards have synergy with him.
Yeah, I think the bouncing is super strong. The on blocks, he's probably one of the best suppression targets in the game. But it's like I've been having a lot of back and forth between like him and Odin and kind of like where I land on it. But I think Buffalong kind of stands to be the better solo card and probably the one I'll probably like push into.
I think Buffalong is far better simply because of that 1 core 4K.
Yeah,
that's like the biggest difference.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to get burning forced, and I'd rather force their
volcanic
break on this early.
Right.
4 Elephant. It's the main draw, main ramp. I mean, the early game is a lot of Mothership ramping to set up like crazy Elephant boards and Enterprise boards. So once you get to Elephant, Mothership stops really mattering, but you're still getting an extra 2 cores every turn, or an extra core every turn. And Elephant is just extremely powerful, especially in a Terrorsaur meta where he's the best blocker into their big boy.
Yep, absolutely.
Draw 3, ramp 3 every time.
Pretty good.
My Peggy replacement, Greg Mar. I think Greg Mar is a lot better right now, current meta. He's actually really good versus Terrorsaur. He gets big enough to actually live, unless Peggy. I think he's just extremely powerful, and his stats can get crazy with Rocket City and just buffing him. For those that don't know, it's 2 cores, 3K, and then when he blocks, he gains an additional 3K, and then 4 cores, 5K, same effect. And he's armor red-white, which is the most relevant part because this card is what allows you to actually play this deck versus white aggro. If this didn't exist, or if a good armor white target didn't exist, white aggro would be too much of a problem for this deck.
Yeah, and probably one of like the premier suppression targets, just because like every block he gets bigger, so he's almost like a guarantee, and the additional 3K I think helps out a lot for sure.
Yeah, I mean he becomes massive. I mean it's similar to if you suppression the little librarian, except this guy I think is better in control decks, especially when I need my soul core a lot.
Right.
The star of the show, Axebiter. When I made the deck, I literally just went, okay, this guy's better Spirit Reaper in a game that can't really handle Spirit Reaper. They only have bounces for him. He literally solves all matchups except for the white mirror. I didn't feel concerned at any time except during white control. And that's solely because of this guy, and he's absolutely useless in the white mirror. Like 100%. He's good to block elephant, that's all. But versus every other color, he's extremely powerful.
Right.
So, you know, when I play against white, a lot of the times it just boils down to like Grey Gamar control. But every other deck, this card's just insane. It honestly shouldn't exist. So for those that don't know, you don't need the Soul Core on him. You don't need the Soul Core anywhere. You just need to be at level 2 to live through all the stuff. And he is a mech, so he synergizes with Mothership, and he's the only card that makes Mothership actually viable because he protects Mothership as well. So,
yeah, 100%. I think not losing it's a big deal. You know, your deck is so already anti-Burning Force, and that just kind of pushes it over the edge because now your Nexus is protected as well.
2 Rocket City. This was a last-minute change, and it overperformed over the weekend, to be honest. Before, these were 2 Dream Blizzards, because I wanted to be able to stop opposing Derms, as well as Dream Blizzard's just a good buff. I'll probably find a way to fit in the 2 Dream Blizzards again, because Derm was a problem this weekend. The Rocket City was insane in my purple matchup. Pretty much like auto-won me the game. He couldn't really do anything. It was either deck him out or kill him. Either he wasn't winning no matter what. And it's just a very solid card in general. And with all of the like restands that go on in this deck, or suppression, etc., the stats on all of your guys just get huge, which allows you to actually keep up with Pterosaur and kill their guys or trade with them defensively. So yeah, and for those that don't know, it buffs every time you block. So that's a huge deal. Yeah. And then 2 Mothership. Originally it was 3. I just got really tired of dead drawing them, because once you have 1, you don't need any more. So this card gives you back all of your cores during your opponent's attack step, and it's protected by Axebiter. Then its level 2 is the most relevant effect on it. It basically speeds up White's gameplay to actually be on par with the current meta. So during your core step, you gain an additional core. They don't stack, but gaining 2 cores per turn allows this deck to actually get to its elephants and its crazy stuff, as opposed to like other white decks, which can just fold the aggro.
Yeah, it's almost like it was like made for Axebiter, with the way that Axebiter just protects it, and now you're actually accelerating your game plan to actually be able to keep up.
Yeah, I don't think like this card's viable in any deck that isn't focused around Axebiter. You have to have 4 copies of Axebiter in your deck to even play this card, in my opinion. Otherwise, you fold the Burning Force as soon as they play it. You know, it's just too much of an investment.
Right.
Or Ice Shield. So it's Ice Shield.
We play Battle Spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Dream Bomb, you need an answer to Derm. It's not the greatest answer to Derm, but it's just a good card in general. Honestly, I'm not like the hugest fan of it, but it is something that helps you in the white matchup. So
buys you a turn against Maduke, buys you a turn against Derm. It's just hey, I just need another turn or 2 to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Like my purple matchup was just all about bouncing their Madukes, or bouncing their curse unit and then ice shielding if they had multiple Madukes. So it's a very powerful card, and it's very powerful to bounce, like if they have multiple Rexes, to bounce one of them so their guys just don't get the crazy stats, so you can actually still kill them with like a Grey Gamar block and suppression buffing it or something. Because once they get 2 on the board, like, you're not going to be able to kill over 6k. They're probably getting buffed 8k just off of their Nexuses and their big boy. Or suppression. Again, we play white, we play 4 of this card. Card's crazy. On to the draw engine. 4 charge draw. So I play 4 charge draw, 3 Star Bless, because charge draw has the buff. And honestly, this meta is not super dependent on like on play cards, when played cards. So I think this is the superior choice right now to max out on if you are going to play some copies of Star Bless, etc. There are times where I felt like 7 draw cards were too many, but I also feel like it's white, so you need to see at least 1 or 2 in the early game.
Yeah.
So I might go down to 6, and I'm also going to test like with the new draw 1 battle trick that occurs when you have 3 reduction. But Charge Drill is a really good card. So
yeah, especially in the suppression format. Oftentimes you'll find yourself kind of being in like a key suppression battle between you and your opponent, and winning that can probably decide the game.
Yeah, a lot of the times like I'll swing with my Enterprise because I know that I probably have more buffs in my deck than the opposing white deck does.
Yeah.
3 regain. This should be at 4 copies for sure. It was at 4 copies for a little while, and then I cut it down to 3, but it should definitely be at 4. I replaced one of the Burning Forces. This card is, besides Axebiter, the best card in the deck in my opinion. It gives your Durham more pressure. It just allows you to have so much pressure, and it's a defensive tool, and it costs 1 for some reason with 3 reduction. You're always going to have 3 reduction on the board. So yeah, this card's wild. The only time it's bad is like when you open multiple copies and one spirit that isn't good to keep restanding. But even if you're just restanding like Gregamar, it's very strong because you can trade out with their guys because Gregamar will get huge.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 Starblast, again, another draw card. Starblast is really good. You set it versus purple, and oftentimes it just wins you the game. And you know, I will probably adjust my draw ratios down to 6, and it'll probably end up being 2 of these and 4 charge draw. Like I said, I think that buff's super relevant.
Yep, makes sense.
And I don't think on play is super relevant. Even in purple right now, it's not. Like a lot of the decks are just moving towards Maduke / mid-range, like
Curse
really,
bodies.
Yeah. A lot of their on play effects aren't as relevant anymore either. 3 Burning Force. This should be 2 Burning Force. Burning Force is a solid card, but I honestly don't think it's like super necessary in this deck. And there's not like it's not really that great versus white aggro. It's the only deck that is really good against this yellow. And my yellow matchup is, I feel like it's slightly in their favor, but not hugely. So, you know, I didn't play yellow this weekend, but in testing it was back and forth every time. And that's against Maple Beast, like in testing. So.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Burning Force is Burning Force. Very strong card. 2 Holy Elixir. This card has overperformed every time I've tested with it. It's basically Ice Shield or Suppression, copy 9-10. A lot of the times it was flat end turns, but it'll allow you to trade more as well. So a lot of people, when you play the first suppression, they'll stop attacking. But if you Holy Elixir, restand 2 guys, you get to choose which guys are blocking, the sequence, etc. So like Bufflong's bouncing, killing something again, or Axebiter's eating up another Pterosaur swing, etc. Yeah, I kind of want to go back to playing 3 of this because I originally played 3. So I'm going to mess with the ratios of all of the regain and all that stuff. But this card and regain, I think, are the only reason why this deck is viable in terms of like the spell pool that we have right now. So I would always play this card in this deck.
Yeah, it's actually what caught me off guard when we play tested. The double restand is huge. You're in this format, you're so ready to account for suppression and everything, and then that's kind of where that niche where I think Holy Elixir really gets in with the 2 bodies. It doesn't buff, which actually can be relevant if you're facing off against other elephants or whatever like that. So in that world, I think it does a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, there were multiple matches where I just like restand and de-leveled guys, so their elephant couldn't die and I could live. People are always accounting for the suppression, like buff gain, and a lot of the times you have to just give them elephant. But honestly, the white mirror match is all about denying elephant and seeing dual gun. So. Yeah, that's the main deck. Side probably needs a little bit more work. It was a lot less of the focus of the deck, but we mostly just tailored it towards white because we already knew that was a hard matchup. But 1 Feral Slash, this is actually a last minute input. I do think there should probably be 2 Feral Slash just for yellow because the card just does eat yellow early game, and it's just a very strong card. 2 Counter Sword. Honestly, this should be probably Core Theft, Core Train, something like that. We put it in just because it's like another good waste your turn card, because a lot of this deck on your offensive step, because you have Mothership or Elephant on the board, you can just waste cores. So like gaining that life in the white match puts your clock ahead of their clock, whether it be Elk or Durham. So that was the reason why we cited it for the most part. And then it's neat in time, and it's solid against purple. 3 Fula. Fula's just Fula. I mean, Fula touched down purple completely. Like, I feel like the matchup's already in our favor pretty heavily. But Fula kind of just says, no, you are not allowed to play the game. Like, I will just... You can't get through Axebiter, Fula, Enterprise. There's nothing in the game that gets through that for purple. they'd have to start doing like some very odd things, like double angelic pressure into some crazy combos. And I was like, at that point, okay, that's fine.
You've earned it.
Probably have an ice shield, by the way, at that point, or I have another fuel to replace it all, etc. One more Durham. This should be in the main deck, and there should be a fourth one in the side. Yeah, cards is crazy. I mean, I would bring it in versus white every time. I didn't really bring it in versus other matchups because I don't feel like 3 to 4 is super necessary versus other matchups, but it's never bad to see in any matchup, so it should be at 3 in the main deck just because it helps so much in the white matchup. Another Enterprise, same concept, though, like all the cards at the end here, just we put them in for the white matchup. This is versus white aggro you want to see it, and versus white control you want to see it, because a lot of the times the white mirror boils down to just racing to the power cards. Racing to Enterprise, Derm, plus, Elephant and Moonski or whoever else. And it's not a great mirror, but it is what it is. So you have to win the race by playing more copies than them.
It is insane how bad white is at dealing with Enterprise. And it really just becomes, can you stabilize your board with Enterprise on board? All right, cool, you're probably in a really good position to take it.
Exactly. And then 2L, again, for the white mirror, I wouldn't bring it in versus anything else. It's an alright card. I honestly don't think it's great in the meta right now, but it does help versus white. I do think there was probably better options that I could have been playing versus white, and we probably should have tested like as many options as possible across all the colors. My thinking was kind of linear for the white mirror, so I think that's what kind of served me wrong, because that's the only thing that I felt threatened by all weekend. I think Core Theft and Core Drain will go a long way in this list. But Elk is still a powerful card, and it's still good in them here. I did win games because of it. I actually played 3 white decks out of 6 rounds, so
Sick.
Half of my tournament was white. No, it was 4. It's 4 white decks, because it was, So, more than half of my tournament, it was 4 white decks, 1 purple deck, and 1 red deck, and white was the only matchup that I didn't want to see. But we still did all right.
In terms of the deck moving forward, you like what the deck is doing? You think it's got a good place in the meta moving into like maybe Ohio and maybe even into the Pro Tour?
Yeah, I think it's in a very solid place for Ohio especially, and then for the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour is just a matter of testing the 0 drops and testing a new BP gain. BP gain is huge in this deck. I think it's like a lot of white decks suffer from never being able to be bigger than other decks. So anything with BP gain and BP gain plus draw is massive. So I'll definitely be messing with that. But I do think it's a very strong contender for Ohio. And I'll probably be playing something similar to this for the Pro Tour. That's all. I have a lot of fun with it. It's luster defense,
Yeah, I absolutely love the deck. Like you said, White Luster is something that I've been messing with. I know you mess with it a lot, and I think this is probably as close as we're going to get until maybe Set 2 will actually give us Luster stuff that actually makes sense with it. But
we can hope.
So once again, congratulations on your top 16. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close out for today?
Just a shout out to my main testing partner, Nightshade. He's helped optimize the deck a lot. We play all the time with the deck, and he always plays what I'm playing. So a lot of times it helps to have that other player that plays the same deck as you to just bounce ideas off of and make everything consistent. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, once again, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing how you do off in the Pro Tour.
Yeah, thank you.